Call of Duty Vanguard is right around the corner. Matter of fact, it's about a week as of this upload, and my expectations have probably dropped below, rock bottom at this point. And the game only needs about one thing to be successful. And I know this is going to be genuinely sad to say, but it's going to be an operating crew. Now, before I get into this, think of a movie, any movie, all right? You think of them, right? They got, a crew, like a story, somebody you could follow, your main characters. Well, you used to have that in COD Zombies, and, they were actually interactable.
Power, 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 power. It's always the first priority.
You hear that? This guy actually talks. Okay, with operators, the whole system, nothing works with it, okay? And I don't mean to just sit here and bash it, but it's more so just a constructive criticism for the actual, Vanguard title. I mean, does anybody actually want to play with anybody who doesn't talk? I mean, you look back at older games, and, you had, like, these colorful, vibrant characters who may have not been appropriate for your children to hear, but hell, I mean, they were pretty cool, and they did say some pretty funny stuff. I mean, you could kill a zombie and he would even talk to you. He would even break the fourth wall. And not even just that, but you would have actual celebrity casts who would appear in each and every game, and it just make the game just an overall better experience. And it wasn't just something that, it would just... They would just barely talk. No, they were talking for the whole game. You might even get annoyed by them by the point of how many times you'd hear their quotes, but it definitely gave each map unique. Even if you did something wrong, like, say for example, go down like me because I'm an idiot, you would hear them say some quotes, you would hear them talk, you would just always hear them talk, and it would just aspire to be something bigger than it would be. Like, okay, granted, look, they might just be talking, right, about giant, Leroy right here, but they would eventually talk about what's happening in the story, what's going on, what their whole plan is for the map, why they're there. But in maps like Cold War, you don't really get that. I mean, in Buried, in Origins, Shadows of Evil, the list goes on, you would be getting something different. All right, Cold War is just something that just doesn't bring that, and unfortunately the reason why we're talking about it is because, well, Vanguard's gonna have the same exact thing. And like I said, I don't want to bash just Vanguard in general, but the whole operator system gives it a very lackluster story. And don't get me wrong, there's some stuff there. I mean, definitely Forsaken was cool, Mauder Tone was cool, but really, you could tell that story without the operators, and that, I believe, is its main flaw. With maps like Mob of the Dead, you would have like these 4 set characters, and it's not even just Mob of the Dead, but it would be a beautifully painted picture. It would definitely tell you what's happening, who they are, what they mean, the business that they want to do, and you wouldn't even have to complete the Easter egg to know that there was some sort of story, like a movie, if you will. But other games going up and up, they don't really include that, and that's what I noticed to be the failure of the sort. I mean, if you just watch this cutscene, you get an ominous feel. I mean, you see 4 characters alongside with maybe a side character, somebody who's in there just maybe for the moment, but, they're not going to be in for the sequel or anything along those lines, and it definitely drew suspense when every time you'd boot it up, eventually you'd learn to be what the story would be, but, you still get that suspense of what you originally had, a good story. And unfortunately, Cold War and most likely Vanguard will not do this, and I mainly predict this to be on the operator system. Now, I could just be sitting here and say blah blah blah, it's just bad, it's boring, but nothing follows the story. I mean, unless you're sitting there digging through all the files, the intel, all of that, which no normal player in their right mind will ever do this. You ever play, some games after a long 9-to-5 shift and you're just like, let's read? No, you're not going to be like that if you're the average Joe here. And let's be honest here, characters in a map, they tell you what's going on, and, it doesn't have to be exactly things that are big, but at the same time, it's just something that tells you as to what's, going on in the story. And unfortunately, Vanguard, I hope will at least change this in some sort of way where we get some sort of cast, some little crew along that line to actually give it a lot of extra character. Don't get me wrong, I would love a great new map that was super fun, and it sure as hell beat some of the others, but at the same time, it's like, we are most likely not going to get that. I mean, speaking for Cold War alone, and probably Vanguard, it has nothing unique. There's more uniqueness in eating this gobble gum rather than actual anything else in the gameplay. If you think about it, everything is the same. I mean, if you look back on these older games, you would get something that was unique, vibrant. It would give you a feeling. If you were playing that one map, you could not get that feeling or experience on another. Now, if you think of maps like, say, for example, you know, D Machine, Firebase E, they're relatively exactly the same. I mean, there's maybe an atmosphere difference, but ultimately, it's the same thing. You know, you're not really going to get anything different like you did back in the day with Shadows of Evil and, you know, the Rising Drac, the Giant, Gorod Krovi, blah, 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 okay? And I'm not sitting here just trying to reminisce on the past, alright? The past is the past. We're never going to get that again. Plain and simple, not going to happen. I just want the best for Vanguard. If that makes sense, I don't want to see something that is bland and that killed Cold War. I don't want to see it to happen to Vanguard, especially, you know, because Vanguard's literally 1 week away, and, you know, it might be fun for the first, like, month and a half, but realistically, I mean, from a zombie standpoint, there's basically no zombies. I mean, if you look at the kind of updates and all that, we're getting kind of like this side outbreak mode, which guess what, we'll have operators who will be expanding the Dark Ether story. And let's be honest here, they've said all of that before. It's gonna be this big great story, the best yet. We hear it every year from COD, okay? Now, the operators in it will add nothing special. It won't draw anybody in. It won't make it sure that anybody's going to be, you know, interested in the story. And let's be honest here, if you're not interesting the story, at least the casual fan base in the beginning of the story, who's going to care 3 DLC maps down the line? It happened with Cold War, and, you know, people are still confused, and it's just something I don't want to see happen, and it's just one of those things I have a feeling that will happen. As much as I've beaten Black Ops 4 over the head, look at this. I would rather have this sort of system than anything like that. Hell, even I would deal with everything with Black Ops 4, including that hideous HUD. Like, why is that there? Who thought of that? Okay, in the operator system, look, going back to that, I can even name one of these operators. If someone pointed a gun to my head and was like, hey, name one of these operators, tell my family I love them. And you know what, I love Scream, but what the hell is he doing here? It just makes no sense. I mean, Cold War, Vanguard, I could say either or title, it's gonna be the same, if that makes sense. I just really want something along the lines of just something good, something to follow, and that begins with a crew, and we really need this. I know it seems dumb, stupid, and I thought it before, and I still think it now. We need a crew, and the only reason is because it gives us a followable story, and you don't even have to think of it in those kinds of lines as well. I mean, realistically, it just adds characteristic to the gameplay, and that's what really founded zombies. It was something different. It was something we didn't see before. It was a new entity, and having a multiple evolving crew, you know, you don't have to just have one. Like I said, there was multiple. I mean, there was Black Ops 1, 2, literally inside of each game there were multiple. I mean, there were celebrity crews that were appearing in each and every single game, and now we're just seeing the most of it being like Scream. And I love him, but we need something new and not necessarily fresh. We just need a new crew. It could be anything. It could be any story. It could be any map. I do not care at this point. So long as Vanguard has a crew, I will honestly count it as a success, and it will be good. I mean, really, we've had bad crews before, like Russman from, you know, the Victus crew, and necessarily they got annoying, but I would rather honestly have that crew for like 20 years straight learning everything about them than anything operator related, and I think about everybody can agree with that. And it's not even just a matter of like, oh hey, we want to use skins, because just make a crew with skins. Just add skins for them. They could have whatever they want, you know. I don't care what he looks like so long as he talks, you know. I'm not sitting here playing just because, really, I'm not even looking at myself when I'm playing. I just want to hear something. I want to be able to have someone who's actually engaged. It's not just zombie eliminated, carrier down, perk like, no, that's boring. Okay, nobody wants that garbage. But hey gamers, if you haven't already, leave a like, subscribe, all that cool nonsense. It's Spencer, you know me, it's a boy. If you haven't checked out the links in the description, make sure you do that. Check out the Discord, all that. Leave a like, subscribe, all that cool nonsense. Kind of wanted to make it to the end of the video before I blander on and advertise. Yeah, you know, that's how this goes. But hey, if you made it this far, you deserve a cookie, and I love you. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Hope you have a wonderful day. See ya.